working on it.
How much, Nancy?
So you know how much
We
of a
having
hurry
prime
we
rib
in?
after ribs?
Of course we are.
You my favorite.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the May 16th, very warm City Council meeting today. Cinda, will you please do the roll call?
Councilmember Spread,
Present.
Harvey,
Present.
Brockert,
Present.
Saucedo, Brackett,
Present.
Fitzgerald,
Present.
Malcolm,
Present.
6 present, 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you. Will you please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. We have a fairly medium-sized agenda, so we will move right along. Is there anyone here who would like to speak to council about something not on tonight's agenda? Please come to the podium, state your name and address.
Oops. My name is Roger Chapman. I live at 1012 East 8th in Muscatine. And I just have a question for the city council. I'd like to know why the compost site doesn't open till noon when the transfer station opens at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Staffing.
It would be
I
nice
don't know
to
what
see
the
it open
answer
earlier
is.
in the day so, people can go down there and dispose their yard waste without having to wait till noon.
I'm not sure what the answer is to that, Roger, but we can ask staff and let you know.
Okay, and also one other thing too, I noticed that everybody's always complaining about rundown buildings in this town, but I never hear anything said about the old Hardee's on Park Avenue. That thing's been sitting delinquent for years.
Okay,
It's
thank
an
you.
eyesore. It needs to be something done to it.
Thank you. Maybe we can get some information on that. For those of us who know the old Hardee's building. And the compost. All right, anyone else? If not, we're gonna go ahead and continue on. The following items are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Is there a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda, which includes items 6A and B, items 8A through F, items 9A, items 12A through C, and tonight's bills totaling $1,994,409.66.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Brackett with a second by Councilman Harvey. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The request is approved with all ayes and the motion carries. We are moving on down to number 7. We have a public hearing for tonight concerning the proposed amendment number 2 to the fiscal year 18-19 city budget. This proposed amendment will increase total budgeted expenditures for the city by $594,000, and transfers out will increase by $225,500. Budgeted revenues are proposed to be amended by $2,500 and transfers in amended by $225,500. The revenue amendments of $2,500 is for a branching out grant for trees in the park maintenance budget. Of the overall requested expenditure increase, general fund amendments total $326,500. Enterprise fund amendments total $144,000. Special revenue, $2,800. Trust funds, $1,700. And capital project funds, $119,000. Prior to any formal action by City Council, a public hearing is required. Now is the time for the public to comment. Hearing nothing, do I have a motion to close?
Move to close.
Second?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Spread with a second by Councilman Brackett. Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. We were scheduling a public hearing B about a proposed imposition of civil penalties, but this has been settled by the vendor, and so I just need a motion to approve the settlement and accept the payment from DJMB Enterprises, doing business as West Side Store, for their first offense cigarette permit violation.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Brackett with a second by Councilman Spread. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. We are on number 9, and we have a proclamation for tonight. For Poppy Days, whereas America is the land of freedom, preserved and protected willingly and freely by citizen soldiers, and whereas millions who have answered the call to arms have died on the field of battle, and whereas a nation at peace must be reminded of the price of war and the debt owed to those who have died in war, and whereas the VFW Post 1565 has pledged to remind America annually of this debt through the distribution of the memorial flower. Now therefore I, Diana Broderson, Mayor of the City of Muscatine, Iowa, do hereby proclaim May 24th and 25th of 2019 as Poppy Days, and ask that all citizens pay tribute to those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the name of freedom by wearing the memorial poppy on these days. We have Arlene Murray here tonight. Would you like to come up and say a few words? You don't have to. Got a sore throat?
Yeah, I don't talk too well.
All right.
Fades in and out,
That's fine.
but I want to
Here
thank
you
you
go.
very much.
You're very welcome. You take it back
Thank
and
you.
share it with your post.
I will.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead and continue with the agenda. We're on 11A. Presented for City Council's consideration is the third and final reading of an ordinance to approve residential refuse collection rates effective July 1 of 2019. The recently adopted city budget for FY 1920 includes an increase in the residential refuse collection rates of 50 cents a month. Is there a motion to adopt this ordinance on third and final reading and to direct for its publication as required by law?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Brackett with a second by Councilman Harvey. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Councilman Spread, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Harvey?
Aye.
Councilwoman Brockert?
Aye.
Councilman Malcolm?
Aye.
Councilman Fitzgerald?
Aye.
And Councilman Brackett.
Aye.
This ordinance is adopted. We're on 11B, and we have presented for City Council's consideration the second reading of an ordinance amending Title III Public Ways and Property, Chapter 5 Public Parks, Chapter 10 Subsection N. This ordinance will extend the portion of the riverfront in which alcohol is permitted at special events approved by council. In order to move forward with the Almost Friday Fest, this ordinance needs to be amended. Is there a motion to approve the second reading of this ordinance as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second?
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Brackett with a second by Councilman Spread. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Councilman Fitzgerald, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Malcolm?
Aye.
Councilman Brackett?
Aye.
Councilman Harvey?
Aye.
Councilwoman Brockert?
Aye.
And Councilman Spread.
Aye.
The motion carries. 11C. We have now a resolution approving Amendment Number 2 to the 2018-2019 city budget, which is what we just talked about in Public Hearing A. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Spread with a second by Councilman Harvey. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Councilman Spread, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilwoman Brockert?
Aye.
Councilman Harvey?
Aye.
Councilman Fitzgerald?
Aye.
Councilman Malcolm?
Aye.
And Councilman Brackett.
Aye.
The resolution is adopted with all ayes. 11D, presented for City Council's consideration is a resolution consenting to assignment of trustee agent agreements. escrow agent agreement, and/or paying and registrar and transfer agent agreements. UMB Bank will be acquiring the corporate trust business of Bankers Trust, which includes any existing trustee agent agreements, escrow agent agreements, and/or paying agent and registrar and transfer agent agreements. This assignment will be effective July 9th of 2019. Dorsey and Whitney, the city's bond attorney, has prepared the attached resolution which will give the city's formal consent to the assignment of the current agreements from Bankers Trust to UMB Bank. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Brackett with a second by Councilman Spread. Is there any discussion?
I have a question, Your Honor. Will this change anything, Nancy, as far as interest rates or anything else, or is it just a change of who is going to be receiving our money?
It's just a change in who's processing our payments.
Okay,
And
thank you.
Bankers Trust has done this for, I think, decades. So it's, and they say that they're even retaining some of the same staff that work for Bankers Trust that will be doing the same thing for UMB. So there's no increased cost, there's no effect. It's just who will be making the payments to and who will be making payments to the bondholders.
So they'll be just processing it for a different processor, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
And then they track who are the bondholders. So if there's a sale of who owns the bonds, they track that
Sure.
for us.
Okay, thank you.
Hearing nothing else, Councilman Fitzgerald, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Malcolm?
Aye.
Councilman Brackett?
Aye. Councilman
Councilman Spread?
Aye.
Councilman Harvey?
Aye.
Councilwoman Brockert?
Aye.
The resolution is adopted with all ayes. We're on 11E. Presented for City Council's consideration is a resolution setting a public hearing for June 6th of 2019 on the 2019 Asphalt Alley project. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Brackett with a second by Councilwoman Brockert. Is there any discussion?
I just want to comment to the public that if they want to see the details of this, they can click on the link in the agenda that's online, and they'll be able to see the alleys that are proposed in this.
Hearing nothing else, Councilman Spread, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Harvey?
Aye.
Councilwoman Brockert?
Aye.
Councilman Brackett?
Aye.
Councilman Fitzgerald?
Aye.
And Councilman Malcolm.
Aye.
This resolution is adopted with all ayes. We're on 11F. Presented for City Council's consideration is a resolution writing off debts of former public housing tenants. Every effort is made to collect rental payments and other monies owed to the Muscatine Municipal Housing Agency. However, there are times when people leave owing a debt. As a matter of good accounting, the City of Muscatine is directed to write off debts that are doubtful for collection. The total amount proposed to be written off is $6,852.84. Records of these amounts will be maintained and will have to be paid back by these individuals before any future housing assistance would be made available to them. These debts will also be turned over to MCOA, the city's collection agent. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
Second, Your Honor.
We have a motion by Councilman Harvey with a second by Councilman Brackett. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Councilman Spread, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Harvey?
Aye.
Councilwoman Brockert?
Aye.
Councilman Malcolm?
Aye.
Councilman Fitzgerald?
Aye.
And Councilman Brackett.
Aye.
This resolution is also adopted with all ayes. 11G. Presented for City Council's consideration is a resolution approving the acceptance and closeout of the Mississippi Drive Corridor Project Phase 1. The construction has been completed and passed final inspection of the city. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Second, Your Honor.
We have a motion by Councilman Brackett with a second by Councilwoman Brockert. Is there any discussion? Go
I
ahead.
don't know, Councilman Harvey sent some questions, and I never saw an answer go back to his questions, and I found the question a reasonable question. Am I the only one that saw this?
No,
There was a response.
Yeah, there was a response.
There was a response.
Okay, I'm sorry,
Okay.
apparently I didn't get it, okay. You know,
Would you like Jim to share it again?
Well-
He'd love to, if you'd like to.
No, I'm just, somebody will forward, I'll ask Miss Cinda or Mr. Monsinger to send me a copy of it, because I didn't get the email. But then
Okay.
again, I've been doing other stuff, so.
Sure.
man,
They're
I might-
easily missed.
I might have missed that one.
All right. Anything else? Councilman Spread, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Harvey?
Aye.
Councilwoman Brockert?
Aye.
Councilman Fitzgerald?
Aye.
Councilman Brackett?
Aye.
And Councilman Malcolm.
Aye.
The resolution is adopted with all ayes. We're on 11H. Presented for City Council's consideration is a resolution authorizing the assessment of unpaid abatement costs and unpaid rental inspection fees to private properties. Periodically, the city takes action to assess unpaid nuisance abatement costs and unpaid rental inspection fees to private properties. The nuisance abatement costs for snow, junk, and tree removal total $2,913.55. The administrative fees are $1,475, and the assessment fees are $1,100. The total fee being requested for assessment at this time totals $5,488.55. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution as submitted?
So moved.
Second?
Second, Your Honor.
We have a motion by Councilman Harvey, a second by Councilman Brackett. Just for information, if the copy of the agenda that you have has different numbers, someone paid today, so that's why these were low, the numbers were changed. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. Councilman Spread, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Harvey?
Aye.
Councilwoman Brockert?
Aye.
Councilman Fitzgerald?
Aye.
Councilman Brackett?
Aye.
And Councilman Malcolm.
Aye.
The resolution is adopted with all ayes. We're on 11I. Presented for City Council's consideration is a resolution setting a public hearing on June 6th of 2019 for the rezoning of 1.5 acres located along Fifth Street between Walnut Street and Mulberry Avenue. This resolution will change the property from a C1 neighborhood and general commercial and R5 multifamily residence to C2 central commercial. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second?
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Brackett with a second by Councilman Spread. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Councilwoman Brockert, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Harvey?
Aye.
Councilman Spread?
Aye.
Councilman Fitzgerald?
Aye.
Councilman Malcolm?
Aye.
And Councilman Brackett.
Aye.
The resolution is adopted with all ayes. We're on 11J. Presented for City Council's consideration is a resolution awarding the contract for the high-strength waste receiving facility to Leander Construction. 2 bids were received, and the lower of the two was Leander Construction in the amount of $1,728,000. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Spread with a second by Councilman Harvey. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Councilman Fitzgerald, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Malcolm?
Aye.
Councilman Brackett?
Aye.
Councilman Spread?
Aye.
Councilman Harvey?
Aye.
And Councilwoman Brockert.
Aye.
The resolution is adopted with all ayes. 11K, presented for City Council's consideration is a request to approve and sign the cooperative agreement with the Iowa Department of Transportation for grant funding for the Park Avenue improvements, including the 423 lane conversion project from the Mississippi River Bridge to Colorado Street. Is there a motion to approve this request as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Harvey with a second by Councilman Spread. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go
Jim-
ahead.
Jim, could you give a brief overview, like you responded to my email? I know the council pretty much knows, but people out in the city may not.
Understood. Absolutely understood. Good evening, Mayor, Council. So this is Park Avenue, as you said, from Colorado to the bridge. Really, it goes from Colorado to Mad Creek. But the only thing that really happens between the bridge and Mad Creek is removing some paint striping and putting some other paint striping down. So in the agreements with the DOT, we will be doing an extensive amount of removing the pavement that's there and patching the PCC, the concrete portions of it, fixing manholes that have settled, broken, maybe even replacing some of them if needed, repairing and or replacing stormwater inlets on the side, fixing curb and gutter. When that is all done, then there's quite a bit of work at each of the intersections and other places along the way that will be done on sidewalks and the ADA accessibility and the ramps down to the streets, the sidewalk ramps down to the streets, and we will be replacing a lot, I think actually all of those. And then when that's all done, yes, I would be remiss if I didn't say, and in addition, there would be, in the parkways, there would be some general grading that is done in there per somebody on the council's request, I don't remember who. And then they've looked at all of the existing signals that are there, the traffic signals that are at the end of the bridge, and 5th Street, and Washington Street will be new signals, new signalization there. The 5-way stop at the top of the hill there, where I guess it kind of converts from 2nd Street to Park Avenue, at least that's how I think of it, will stay that way. The only thing it'll change is the 3-lane configurations of Park. It won't be 4-lane anymore, it'll be 3-lane, so there'll just be one car in each direction. And that, in essence, is the sum total of that project. It's about $1.8 million worth of work. About $1.4 million of it is funds coming from 4 distinct different funding sources. And those were all identified in that memo, but I can go through them if you wish, or I can stop right there.
Jim, is anything special going to be done between Harrison and Colorado?
Anything
That's
special?
kind of a transition there to, it goes from a media to a non-media, but it's still 4 lanes. Are you going to just suddenly at the intersection go from 4 to 3?
Yes. And at that intersection is a great way to do it. I mean, you're going to have a left turn lane in there, and all of a sudden now, instead of just that suicide lane or the turn each way lane. So you will, maybe this is what you're getting at. I mean, there's probably some paint striping stuff that needs to be done there to make sure those lanes will line up with where they need to be. But there's nothing significant. I mean, we're not going to tear up a whole bunch of pavement and completely replace it or anything like that.
Well, you mentioned, I hadn't thought about it until now, that if you're going south and you're in the inside lane, it seemed reasonable that would be dedicated only to left turns on the Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're going to
you bring it-
suicide yourself into
And then
the...
you bring the outside lane
Yeah.
through, yeah, yes. But I mean, that's all paint striping.
Right.
Okay.
I was under the impression that the traffic signal at 5th Street was going to be removed.
We thought it was going to go bye-bye too, yes. Where the consultant has looked at it, only to the point to just do some traffic counts and to go through those wonderful thing called warrants that the state recognizes as the only true legitimate reasons to put in signals. And it kind of surprised us, but it meets warrants.
Okay.
So you're kind of in that trick box where you had signals and you can't just really justify not putting them in.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
in a nutshell, we were wrong.
No.
Anyone else? Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Hearing nothing else, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The request is approved with all ayes. We're on 11L. Presented for City Council's consideration is a request to approve the issuance of a purchase order in the amount of $33,000 to BMW Builders for the replacement of concrete in the Art Center parking lot. There is $35,233 in the budget for this project. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second?
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Brackett with a second by Councilman Fitzgerald. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The request is approved with all ayes. We're on 11M. Presented for City Council's consideration is a request to approve the issuance of a purchase order in the amount of $25,000, to BMW Builders for the replacement of concrete for the fire station apron area. There is $28,738 in the budget for this project. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Brackett with a second by Councilwoman Brockert. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The request is approved with all ayes. That concludes our agenda. We're on communications. Councilman Harvey, do you have anything tonight?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Councilman Spread?
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Councilman Malcolm?
Not tonight, Your Honor, thank you.
Councilman Fitzgerald?
I have one thing tonight. A couple weeks ago, we had requested DOT's permission to remove the trees that had been dropped along Hauser Street, and I was wondering what the progress,
I've had a couple calls on that as well.
they're still there, but
And Jim, was the reason that we cut them down before we needed them to be cut down was something was going to be habitat?
You want me to jump in?
Yes.
Because there's federal funding in the trail. You have to follow the federal rules that apply to the Endangered Species Act.
Gotcha.
And the Indiana bat and the long-eared bat are endangered species. And so the rules are that you can't cut trees down on federally funded projects after April 1, I think it is.
Great.
And you can't, so you can't do it between April 1 and October 20th or 30th or something like
So
that.
you jumped in and.
So you have to get them cut down and dropped. Don't ask me my opinion about how logical that federal regulation is, because we'd be here all night. So we dropped those trees. As you guys all know, the West Side Trail has had a couple of little delays. Certainly, those trees were going to end up laying on the ground longer than we thought they were. Councilman Fitzgerald brought up that probably was too long, and so we have gotten permission to exempt them out, and we have sent out a brief little request for proposals to move them, and we are expecting 3. Unfortunately, we have only got one of those back, and so I made some calls today to see if we can shuffle that all along and get it done quicker. But I do appreciate Councilman Fitzgerald's request, because he gave me the excuse to get up here. So I have a question. We think that we can get this done quicker and safer, and this was one of the concerns brought up by one of the contractors that we asked to bid on it. If we could get permission to close Hauser, don't panic yet, for 2 days. They think they can get all that work done in 2 days if we can close the street. If we don't close the street and have to have the thing where traffic alternates, it's not quite as safe, and they think, now you're going to be up somewhere around a week's worth of work there, because you're just not going to be able to get the production that you want. So we asked for those bids to be structured that way, and certainly that's all without any feedback from the council at all. So if it saves, just theoretically, let's say, if it saves us a couple $1,000, $1,500, $1,000 to a couple $1,000, $1,500 to a couple $1,000 to close that street for a couple days, detour traffic out to the bypass and on down and around. Does the council think that's worth the effort or not? That's a
Looking
hard
for a
call.
consensus. Does anybody have any thoughts right away?
I think from a safety aspect, that would probably work better than having to dodge traffic all the time.
Yes, and all it would take is one mistake, and we'd all regret that little decision.
Exactly.
So
Do we need you just need a consensus to be able to do that? We don't need to bring
I
it
think
would-
all I really need is just a consensus, just a shake of the head, or
Is it possible to
vote tonight
find out
anyway.
what the bid would be like if we did it without the closing and if we closed it?
And we didn't.
What's the
no,
dollar
no, no.
difference is?
Those proposals have been structured that way. Those costs have been asked.
Yeah, so I think, from my perspective, I would not want to give a consensus until I could see, I'm assuming there's going to be more of a cost savings, more than $1,500. I'm also going to assume that this is going to be quite an inconvenience for people who travel that route, people who stay in the housing project, on the soccer field, all these different events that go, and that's the main route of travel. So to bring them all the way around, they are now incurring gas costs and everything else. So I'm like, can I see how much money this is benefiting? Maybe it'd be worth their extra tank of gas to do this or not. Safety, yeah.
Yes, you can.
My belief is, number one, it's a safety issue.
Yeah.
Number two, I would rather inconvenience the people for 2 days rather than carry it on for an entire week. And considering the condition of Hauser Street and the curve in Hauser Street, visibility to see who, you're almost gonna have to have flagmen
Flaggers out there the whole entire time, yes, and that's one of the
I mean,
things we did
it's-
say. Yeah.
Close, just close it.
Yep.
Jim, did you say you asked in the RFP, did you ask them to bid both ways?
Both ways, yes.
So that you would be
Same
able to
thing.
see the difference?
So before we pull the trigger on this, we can get a memo out to you guys to tell you how much money that's gonna save you. Does that satisfy you, Councilman?
That's fine with me. I need to see.
Right.
I agree with Phil, it's more about safety
Yeah.
than it is about potential cost savings at this point.
Go ahead, Kelsey.
Can we get the really big pothole on Miller's Hill filled first? Because even though you detour people to the bypass, you know they're gonna use it.
They are.
There's like an axle break-in pothole on Miller's Hill.
Not a pothole.
Yes, we will,
It's
we'll
not
put
just the
that request
side
in.
anymore.
It's
There's
not a
problem
pothole,
in
it's
the
a
middle now,
crater.
too.
It's a moon crater.
I would pile on those
Because-
comments, but it's, yeah.
I fully support closing Hauser for
Yeah.
the removal of those limbs, and purely on the safety aspect. The cost aspect doesn't even enter into it to me, because
Yeah.
I agree
No,
about that
it's good.
hill.
It's a good idea.
But just if we can, real quick, even if it's a quick fix pothole fill.
Yep.
Okay.
Jim,
We have
and the plan is, because I've got I get people calling all the time wanting that.
That would, yes.
That would. So the plan is, it's gonna get moved to the transfer station, and then it's gonna be first come, first serve?
Yes, yes.
So will we get notices out to the people when it's there?
We can post it on our website.
Post
We
it
don't
on
know
our
who- we don't know
website,
who
post
the
it on
people are,
Facebook, so the people all know.
Yeah.
And then just to try to make it as fair as possible, because a lot of people,
I think
good
if
point.
they,
Like
if
that.
they want to cut, they have to sign a waiver at the transfer
Right.
station. But there are numerous people that down there cutting at the transfer station all the time.
Yeah.
yeah.
So the public is quite aware of it, just knowing that
Oh,
the
yeah.
trees are going to be there.
Right. Well, they would like to go pick them up where they're at, and so we keep
Yeah.
nixing that, and with
Yeah.
with telling them that they'll be able to get them first come,
I
first
hadn't
served
thought of
when
that,
you
but
get down
it's a
there.
good point. I just assumed when they saw they were gone, they'd all go running to the
Yeah, maybe Kevin
transfer
can put something
station.
out.
But we could put something out.
Yeah, okay.
All right, anything else?
Thank you, Kevin.
Jim?
Or Jim? We were talking about Kevin.
Kevin, Jim?
There you go. Anything else?
No, that's
right.
it. Thank you.
Nadine?
Yes, I have a couple of things. I was contacted by a citizen earlier in the week about grass clippings being left in the streets. And as we know, and maybe we need a little reminder, putting grass clippings out in the street is against ordinance just because it fills up the storm drains and makes a mess for John and his folks. And the other thing is that it creates a very dangerous situation for people riding motorcycles and bicycles. It's almost like ice for them. The other thing is, Riverbend Neighbors will be meeting Monday night at 7 p.m. at the fire station on Stewart Road, and I look forward to seeing a few of you there. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Brackett?
I'm gonna make Jim come back up, I think. Do we know when Second Street's gonna be open at the bridge, or by the, over there, where it's blocked off?
Thought they said Thursday or Friday.
Mayor, Council, let's kill two birds with one stone. Mississippi Drive potentially could be open late tomorrow, but if it doesn't happen late tomorrow, it'll be open Monday. I believe that that same schedule applies to the floodgate on Second Street. Potentially that could be open on Monday, but it always goes with the caveat. It's dependent on how vicious the mud is stuck down and how long it takes to clean it, because they're going to do Mississippi Drive first and then go there. So we think we're going to be back where we belong by Monday. But if not, it'll be shortly thereafter.
Thanks, Jim.
Yep.
Thank you, Jim.
That's it. No,
Anything else?
That's all I've got tonight. Thank you.
Staff?
Nothing tonight. Your Honor.
Okay. I just had a few things. First of all of you will be noticing that the flags are at half-staff. Just a reminder to everyone that this is National Police Week. And of course, we want to make sure that we remember our heroes who died in the line of duty, and that's what we're doing this week. Next, I would like to ask for an update on where we're at with the Jane House. Anyone? Nobody behind you, Andrew.
No, she's there.
There she is.
Mayor, Council, Jody Royal, Goodwin Community Development Director, though I'm probably not in the best position to answer. I just literally came back from Des Moines after yesterday and today, so I don't have an update other than what we communicated via email earlier this week, that we've sent notices. They went out last week, so early next week should be the end of that 10-day period when we will send Kellers out to secure the building and do the mowing if necessary.
And the mowing has been done.
The mowing has been done.
But I don't know about the securing the building.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's been notified of both, so we'll
Okay.
be addressing that if it's not taken care of.
Could we get an update on that after the 10 days runs out?
Yes.
So for the next, thank you.
You're welcome.
Also, I would like to ask, I've had a couple different calls on, there's a field behind Heritage Heights, like behind Spinning Wheel Court. And it's like all grown up and over, and last year they planted beans in there and never did even pick them. And so the animals just went in and been eating, and it's been a real mess for all the neighbors in the neighborhood.
So it's on the west side?
Yes.
That's
Do you know what I'm talking about, Andrew? Yes. Okay.
I think that's the Tim family, I think.
But I thought it was Brian.
Avoid the camera.
Mayor, Council, we can take a look at that. Really what that depends on is if that falls into an agricultural classification where the rules are different. So without going out there to take a look at it, I can't give you more specifics.
Thank you, I appreciate it. The next thing, I'd just like to remind everyone, our city on Tuesday, we have Joe Barnard coming to show some of his art pieces. And Kelsey Stafford with the Muscatine Parks and Rec is going to give everybody an update on the Aquatic Center opening. And today's a perfect day for that to happen. A reminder, we have no council meeting the next 2 Thursdays. Hope everyone enjoys Memorial Day and is safe. And our next council meeting will be June 6th. And lastly, Coffee with the Mayor is Saturday morning at 9 a.m. at Happy Joe's, if any of you would like to join me. Hearing nothing else, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Have a good evening.